Hey guys, what's going on here? Today is October 23rd on a Friday. I'm actually in Shenzhen right now, and I'm working here at the I think it's a technology park or something. It's pretty windy here. I hope the audio is okay. So nearby the technology park, there's a beautiful lake here. Let me show you. Ah, shit. Okay, here's the lake. So we're basically sort of at the Chinese Silicon Valley here in Nanshan. So this is where I work for a couple days, or a few days. So yeah, as I said, they regard this as most of the big tech companies are here, like Tencent, Huawei, DJI, yeah, I always say like DJI, it's DJI. So anyways, like most of the tech companies are here, and they regard this as the Silicon Valley of China. But I think this will be much bigger than Silicon Valley in terms of size, and also innovation is like a lot faster, like things like getting approved like a lot quicker than Silicon Valley in the States. Gosh, the wind, it's killing me. And what else? What was I gonna say? And also the production facility is right here in Guangdong province here. So technically, basically they can just innovate and then let it produce like right here at the corner here in the vicinity. Whereas in the States, the Silicon Valley, they innovate and have their ideas, and they still have to ship it over to produce all the goods and stuff. And whereas here they can do a lot quicker. So the infrastructure for China here is a lot better here in terms of producing faster results here. So that's the where I am right now in Shenzhen, Nanshan. But today we're talking about freedoms and convenience in China, living here as overseas Chinese here. And yeah, I have basically categorized this into 4 different categories. Let's start with delivery and services, transportation, safety, and opportunities. So these are the 4 categories I want to talk about in China here. I just discovered just by chance here, like there's a tennis court I can actually get in. I don't think you have to pay here. It's free actually. That's so cool here. Let me flip this around. So yeah, it's a big ass tennis court. Like there's 4. Jesus, this is big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus, no, that's Jesus. 1, 2. Jesus, is that 2? Gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you have at least 5 courts here, like for the public playing tennis here. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let me find a place where it's less windy. I'm not sure if the audio affects. It's gonna affect the audio. Okay, first category is the deliveries and services. So pretty much I take order takeouts like pretty much on a daily basis wherever I am, and it's pretty quick and cheap. So I just order some food and I don't have to pay tip, and the delivery is very minimal. It's like what, 2 kwai, 3 kwai, like less than like 50 cents or less. And it's so convenient. You don't have to even go out to eat. Just order, and then takes like 30 minutes to an hour, depends on where the store is located. And like I remember in the US, when you order any pizza, anything, like the minimum order is like what, I don't know, like $20. And when they deliver, you have to pay tips, 10% tips, which is like, I don't know, another like, well, at least, I don't know, $2 to $5. So the tip itself is like costs more than a meal here. So I eat pretty much like every day, like takeouts, like order it, unless the restaurants are really close by. So I eat some in a restaurant if I have time. But most of the time, I don't have time, it's just like order something. Yeah, obviously food is a pretty big thing like in my daily life, and then besides on that, like deliveries in terms of they call it kuaidi here, like to ship something, and then to order something. It's really fast here and it's cheap. Deliveries like FedExing, it's another thing that I really enjoy. So FedExing stuff out, in and out, it's very important for my business. So I FedEx things on a daily basis, contracts and stuff out. So it's really cheap here. Like it's 12 RMBs, like less than $2. I can have somebody pick up the envelope and then ship it for me like within a day, or like the next day. It's I think within a day it's like a little bit more expensive. It's what? Oh gosh, it depends on within the city. It's like it's 18 or something like this. But then within a day to another city, it's a little bit more expensive. Maybe 30 kwai. But most of the time, it ranges from, if the next day is about 12 to 24 kwai, around that. So we're talking about only like $4 actually for delivery next day. Because I remember in the US, even 10 years ago, I just looked it up, the rates right now, and they haven't changed a lot. But if it's next day before 8 a.m., it costs you $30. I've done it once actually because it was company expense. And then, no, oh gosh, before 8 a.m. next day, it's $70. And before 10 a.m. it's like $30. So I did it once to send an application to get a Chinese visa at the San Francisco consulate. But then they didn't pick it up. You have to drop it off at FedEx. And yeah, it was like $29 or something for the next day shipping. So you can see the amount, like money that you have to pay just to ship a contract or like a document or anything. Whereas like I do it on a daily basis, just like this, without even thinking like how much it costs. It's just like 12 RMB, which is what, less than $2. So it's all good, and ship it out. They pick it up within an hour. Just like, punch all your information in on your app, and then and after 30 minutes he shows up and then picks it up. And yeah, for everything else, like delivery is like very super convenient and cheap. When I order something at night at Jingdong, like let's say at 11 p.m. and I got my goods like at next day, like in the morning. I just did it actually. I forgot something to bring, like my laptop stand, which I really need for my work. So I was like, shit, I'm just gonna order a new one. Like screw that. So I ordered like at 11 p.m. and I got it like the next day in the morning. So it's really quick. Anything, yeah, all kinds of deliveries like really fast and cheap here. And if that is not fast enough for you, you can use like it's called something like a lightning speed delivery. So let's say you forget something like on your way to the airport, and then yeah, and you just call this delivery, and then they would actually pick it up immediately. Costs a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, 60 kwai, which is like $10. They will pick it up immediately, and then they will have dispatch somebody to your home, and then they will go to your airport directly, and then yeah, that's lightning speed. If normal speed is not enough for you. So with everything else, like food deliveries, water, everything is like really fast. And you can order an IE, they call like a cleaning service. Just have somebody clean your house, and order a haircut, all kinds of stuff. Is like really cheap here. So that's really something like I really enjoy. The freedom of not really having to think about the expense, like it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg, like everything. So that's really nice to have. That's great freedom for me. Okay, on to the next freedom, transportation. Transportation is awesome. It's great. I just love it. We have bikes here. Like bikes are everywhere. You can just rent it for less than a kuai, or you can pay for a monthly 3-month subscription. It's really cheap, you know. And then you have buses like super cheap that run like every, I don't know, 5 minutes in bigger cities, maybe every 10 minutes in small cities. Buses, subway, high-speed trains, super cheap, super convenient. Like they run from, I don't know, 5 a.m. in the morning until midnight. Super good. Especially like, gosh, the wind's killing me. Let me hide again. That's why I'm not going out there. High-speed train is like, you know, when I first got here, they didn't have too many connections with only to the major cities, but now they're connected pretty much everywhere, and it's super cheap, convenient. Like especially for if you live in Shanghai, they're connected pretty much everywhere. Anything that's less than 6 hours, I'll take the train. So even like my favorite ones is like from taking a train from Shanghai to Beijing, which is about the fastest is about 4.5 hours, and cost me, I don't know, about $80. About $80. So that's the distance from. That's more from San Francisco to Los Angeles. More than, I don't know how many miles like exactly from San Francisco to LA, but it's about 1,200 kilometers from Beijing to Shanghai, and it's like, gosh, $80. It's like, it's a good price. I mean, you consider like if I take a train from Hamburg in Germany, from Hamburg to Frankfurt. Geez, how much does it cost me? It's like 100, maybe 100 euro. That's what, like 800 RMB. But that's like half the distance or way less, you know. The train, I think the maximum speed that I've experienced from Beijing to Shanghai was 350 kilometers per hour. So just crazy speeds here. But that's just probably the beginning. They're building on like faster and faster trains in the future. When we're talking about future in China, that means like within like what, a few years. We'll look at the plans they made actually for the San Francisco to LA. They've been planning this for decades. I mean, I don't know. And subways are really clean here, super clean here and new. And the funny thing is, like, you can actually eat in the subway here, and it's super clean. I don't know, they just somehow manage it to make it like super clean. But on the contrary, in the US, you cannot eat or drink in subways. Well, at least in the ones in San Francisco, I know. I can't confirm on New York subways. It's super ghetto actually. The subways in San Francisco and in New York, it's super ghetto. It's dirty. It smells like pee, and it's not safe. It's yeah. Some stations are super ghetto. I mean, I don't feel safe at all. So just to compare a little bit the costs, like subway costs, like if I take an average cost about three kuai, maybe 4. I think it's about 4, which is like what, 60 cents or something like this, 60 cents US. And then taking just the BART, the San Francisco BART from East Bay to San Francisco, it's what, like what, 7 station maybe, I don't know, about 7 station. It cost me like $6 or $7 now. I think it's about $6. Anyway, so that's the transportation. So it's like overall cheaper, faster, much better experience here, safer, and yeah, this just everything is like faster here. You want something, and to be honest, the high speed train, I experienced only one delay so far in my 11 years living here, and that's like a delay of 27 minutes or so. And they're all punctual, like on time every time. So whereas I think in Germany the trains are like what, 50% delay. Like every other train is like delayed. So yeah, so this is what you get, the convenience, what the government does, so that's pretty good. Oh, one more thing on the taxi is like super cheap too. um, I think I can recall only a few times I've taken, like maybe less than 10 times in the US taken a taxi, or in my lifetime maybe less than 20-30 times, to be honest, like because it's like too expensive. But here, like taxi, like is relatively cheap here. You have so many different options. You have regular taxi, you have carpool taxis, like you have sort of like Uber, so all kinds of services. And the one that I really like is their carpooling. It's not even like dangerous or stuff. You just whenever you have a route you want to go, you just punch in the time, the location, all that stuff, and then in an instant you get your ride. And it's pretty quick, and it's cheap. Like if you compare, I think it's 3 times or 4 times less than a regular taxi is. Even though like the regular taxi is already pretty cheap, so you get that carpool option. When I take to airport, it's like 50 kilometers from my home to the airport. Normally costs what, 250 or 300 kwai. It's like about $50 actually. It's a long distance, 50 kilometers. And if I take the carpool, it costs me like less than $10, or around $10 US. So it's a lot cheaper. While talking about taxis in the US, I think I've taken a few times. I think it costs you easily like $50-$60 US just a ride for like what, 15 minutes or so. And whenever like I took a taxi back because we were too drunk from San Francisco to East Bay back, they actually negotiate. They don't go by meter. They actually go by negotiation. So while they probably go around what, $80 to $100 going back for distance, what, it's only like what, for 20 minutes. So that's a lot of money. So we're talking about like 700 kwai for a distance of 20 minutes. That's ridiculous. So yeah, that's a convenience for taxi rides here. So I can take a taxi like pretty much on a daily basis without really thinking like, it's gonna cost me a fortune. Just take a taxi just like this if I want to go, and it's a greater distance, and I'll consider that it's a lot more. But on a regular taxi ride, I just take it just like it's a bus, as like regular transportation. Whereas in the US or in Europe, you only take a taxi when it's really, really needed. Like you don't have another option, because like the cheapest taxi ride you can get is probably like what, $20-$25. That's the minimum. Alright, I'm dehydrated right now. I'm getting some water break. Oh shit, this is gonna... Gosh, it's a little path here. I don't know where it leads me. It's like, looks like a maze here. Okay, on to the next category. It's safetiness. So safety, actually I don't really get the concept anymore of safety. I'm just like, back then, and you're always like conscious about going out like certain hours, a certain district. You're not, in the US, like, oh, you're not supposed to walk in this area at a certain time, But then here, I don't have that concept to be like, to really think about it. I can't walk here like a certain time period here, like. So I just walk around as I like, any time in the day, like even at night at 3 a.m. here. It's all good, but don't go overboard and try it out, and but most of the time it's pretty safe here. So for women also, so it's not a big deal. So if you like walk at 3 a.m. here in the morning, 2 a.m., so it's all good, even for women. Yeah, even for women. So shit, it gets windy here. Let me just go back here. So safety, yeah, as I said, like I haven't really like seen any police forces here, mostly like traffic police here. And I haven't really witnessed any crimes like since I live in Shanghai or travel around China. Really, regular police don't really exist. Like I get the feeling here, and mostly traffic police. I got busted for like was not jaywalking. It's like riding my bike on the wrong lane, and they fined me like 20 RMB, which is like $3. In the US, I jaywalked actually one time. A bastard cop just fined me like 20 bucks. So the reason why, I guess it's part of that, the reason why it's really safe is because they install a lot of CCTVs and stuff. And so it makes it super safe, like, but then it's being reported like differently in the West, like saying like people are under constant surveillance and all that crap, you know, and they monitor you and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, you tell me, like, I'm safe here. They can just film me as long as I'm safe. Like, I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm good here, you know. You can bitch about your privacy, you know, you don't have privacy and all that shit. I don't care. I mean, this is public and it's for the safety and stuff. If you want to report it like in a distorted way, Western media, yeah, I don't know. That's how you deal with your business. So, but anyways, that's for the greater good, for the people, for the safety here, and yeah, I don't have to worry about all that stuff here. You know, people like robbing me in the middle of a day, or like some homeless people here. You know. So it's pretty safe here. It's beautiful. Let me show you guys the lake here. Now this is where I work actually, at the high-rise building. And it's a pretty cool lake here. So the Western media wants you to believe that you have privacy and your data is securely protected, so the government doesn't have any access to your data. Well, if you believe in Santa Claus, yeah, you might believe in this too. I mean, if the government, the US government, can invade a country just like this on a false premise, what do you think, like, you know, they would do actually if they really want your data? They can just have access just like this. They wouldn't care. I mean, yeah, I guess the reason why they don't check into your personal data and anything is because you're not important to them. But if you were important to them and they need actually to find information about you, they will definitely check your information. So don't be fooled by the media telling you that your data and everything is protected. That's utter baloney, I think, you know. So the last category is the opportunities here in China, because it's still a somewhat developing country. So you have a lot of opportunities for foreigners, for local people. So the first category of people, I would, you know, the local people coming from second or third tier city. There's a huge influx of migrant workers actually coming to the main cities here. And let me just go inside again. There's tennis court here. So basically, there's a lot of a big influx of migrant workers, or people from a second, third tier city coming here to Shenzhen or to Shanghai, Beijing to work. And then, yeah, some of them succeed and have their Chinese dreams, and some don't succeed. So if you really work hard, I think you can achieve a lot here, given that there's so many opportunities here for pretty much every industry here, because they're still developing. So yeah, and it's good. I mean, so a lot of people are happy with the system. Lots of opportunities. So yeah, for local people, it means you can make your dream come true. You know, if you work really hard, you know, you see, just like these guys like Huawei and Tencent and all these tech companies like DJI. You know, they work really hard and succeed. just like anywhere else in the world, And then you have the second category of foreigners. A lot of foreigners come here, and they have also, like, even if you don't have any skills for a foreigner, you can at least teach English. So there's a lot of opportunities here, and English is probably, like, among foreigners, like, the lowest class actually, because if you don't have any skills, or you want something easy, you just resort to teaching English. And it's not right now. It's getting harder because you need more credentials in bigger cities. But then you can, if you suck, you can still resort to, like, second tier, third tier cities, just like these two schmucks I think they taught English in a third tier city, and so on the other extremes, on the contrary, you have, like, these extremely successful foreigners, business owners, basically. So you have, on one hand, foreigners teaching English here at the lower end, and then on the other hand, you have really a lot of opportunities to open businesses here in China, because it's still developing, and then you can, as long as you're creative, you're innovative, you can open a business. And they actually encourage, like, foreign investment and all that stuff coming in here. And I know a lot of English teachers, as well as a lot of business owners here in China. So it seems like we're missing out, like, the middle class, somewhere in the middle, like people doing regular jobs, But I would be probably one of these guys, like, doing a regular job. I own actually a business, but then I'm not, like, the super successful, but I'm doing just okay. But I'm not like the teaching English foreigner, like, getting by and stuff, And that's, like, the two sides of opportunities, like, for locals and foreigners. So I would say you have a lot more opportunities here in China than in the US and Europe, where the market's already saturated. But here you can still innovate a lot of stuff, and they welcome new ideas and stuff. And even just opening a simple restaurant, and because I think it's developing really fast, everything here, and they don't have these rules and restrictions like in the US. You need to follow this particular rule. It's getting there, slowly. Like, I remember back then, opening a business, they don't have any requirements like this and that, but now they're getting more strict, Some bans are really good, like smoking bans in bigger cities. Before, like, every person smokes in a restaurant, like indoor public areas, But now I think they slowly getting rid of, like, people smoking in a restaurant in public areas, like indoors especially. So that's really good for non-smokers like me. So these are all the 4 categories that are really important for me to run a business, to live in China. And I think it comes down to affordability, and convenience, and so I can run my business faster, have a better life here in China, have fun here. So just build up your dream, whatever, like your career here. So it's a lot easier here, and it's a better environment here. So there's nobody here. It's good. I can play tennis here for free. What else? To sum up this, these are, like, the main areas that I consider as freedom. What I think is important for my life. Maybe some people think, like, voting, and what else is, like, freedom of speech is really important. For me, voting, I've really never voted in my life, though I can. I don't really give a shit, to be honest. If some people can vote, that's cool, but don't impose it to other countries that, if you consider this as your type of freedom, democracy, that this is what you want, fine. But don't impose it to other nations or other countries, and wage a war against these people. Just leave them the fuck alone, basically. I mean, that's not your business. If they decide, this is their freedom, this is what they want, leave them alone. They don't need your freaking voting or freedom of speech. And they love their government here. People living in peace here. They don't have these fucking crimes here, and they don't have these coronavirus problems here and all that hate and all that shit here. Just leave people alone, basically. That's none of your business. I think China has really implemented a really good system. The thing is, like, China is willing to learn from their Western counterparts. They learn all the good things, from the Western part. They don't want to learn all that shitty parts, So I mean, every system has good and bad. But China has adopted probably the advantages of the Western system, and they kept their traditional system as well. So merge it into one. But the thing that I think it's very offensive, or very what's the word? It's very aggressive from the West, that they want to impose their system, the exact system, to you need to use the system to be like just like us, eradicate your system, your culture and everything, and just adapt the exact same Western system. The West is kind of like arrogant in the terms that we don't need to learn anything from China, even though like some of the aspects are superior, good, but we Westerners are like superior. We don't need to learn from you, so you better adapt our system. But in Chinese, they just like take the good shit from the Western system, implement in their system, and make it work. Whereas I think that has something to do with all this, like in history, that the West do all this like colonization, and that's kind of like they're in their genes, and they still have this mindset, like they think like when China rises that it would do exactly the same what the West does. No, that's because you're arrogant. You don't putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. You only think of yourself. Oh, this is what's going to happen when China rises. No, China has their own system, their own belief and stuff. It's not gonna when China is getting wealthy, it's not like they're going out and colonize just like Columbus, and all these Anglos, the Europeans, Okay. That's it before I keep ranting on this issue. So that's my 4 categories that I consider as the freedoms that I have here, that I consider as like really important for myself. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.